everyone, it's Charlie. We got our first teaser for the Loki Avengers Endgame spin-off series that's going to be happening in the next couple of years. So we also know what's going on with the story. I'll break everything down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Marvel videos. We're doing a new round of that Avengers game giveaway because of what's going on during E3. All you have to do to enter that is just be a subscriber and leave a comment about Avengers or the Loki series on the video. Marvel had a big conference a little while ago that was super private for investors only as part of their big Disney Plus reveal. Kevin Feige did a huge presentation explaining all of the Avengers spin-off series that are happening in the next couple of years. So that's where all the footage comes from, but Marvel just publicly released it. So I will talk about the news about the other Avengers spin-off series, like the Scarlet Vision series, the Marvel What If series at the end of the video. We'll talk about the Loki series first, because we also know what the release schedule is going to be. Some of the shows will be dropping in the next year, some of them will take a little bit longer. So starting at the beginning, we finally know what's going on with Avengers Endgame Loki in that scene of him stealing the Tesseract and then just going off to who knows where. They don't address it at the end of the movie at all. They spent a solid 10 minutes of the movie with the Avengers and then separately with the Ancient One and Hulk in that scene explaining that the Infinity Stones control the flow of time. You pluck one out of this reality, it creates a whole new timeline branching out from the original one that you came from, unless you bring that Infinity Stone back to the exact moment you took it from, which is the whole reason Captain America has that scene at the end of Avengers Endgame where he goes back in time to return all the different Infinity Stones to where they yoinked them from. We can only wonder what the conversation was like when he went back to Vormir to return the Soul Stone, just catching up with the Red Skull after all these years. But as we all saw, this version of Loki from the events of the original Avengers movie in 2012 takes the Tesseract, gets the hell out of Dodge, and is completely unaccounted for at the end of the movie. So now it is canon in the MCU that there's an alternate reality Loki who has the Tesseract after the events of the first Avengers movie, and we don't know what happened to him yet, which is where some of this Loki Avengers spin-off series comes in. We know what the story is, and now because of this new footage, we have confirmation of what it's going to look like. And I'll also address the Asgardians of the Galaxy Thor stuff at the end of Avengers Endgame, because there will be more Thor stuff happening in the MCU during Marvel Phase 4, but we don't know exactly how they plan to use Loki. So we'll talk about alternate reality Tesseract Loki in the potential for him showing up in future Thor movies in just a second too. So this is the footage they released of Kevin Feige's presentation of the actual Loki series. It shows Loki back in 1975, while the first Jaws movie is in theaters. You see him in the middle of the street in New York City in front of the movie theater in a black suit from Earth. The suit is from Earth with the same green scarf that he was wearing during the Avengers movie. It's pretty much the entire same outfit that he wore during the first Avengers movie. Here's the thing about that though, you remember that even though alternate reality Loki has the Tesseract, the Space Stone by itself doesn't give you the ability to travel through time. So clearly, this is Loki back during 1975. So the plot synopsis just goes like this. Loki will be showing up all over the timeline during major events in world history, influencing them in mischievous ways. It'll be the same version of Loki, just popping up during different years in each episode, or each couple of episodes, depending on how much they pace the story out. But for the most part, each episode will be set during a different time period and telling a different story. So for instance, the Loki teaser that they released is for the Jaws episode of Loki being during 1975, messing with people enjoying that movie, but also during 1975 in world history, it was noted as the end of the Vietnam War. Sounds like Loki will probably have something to say about that. But it was also the year of the joint Soviet-USA Soyuz space mission, still firmly in the middle of the Cold War, which just seems like a perfect time for Loki to cause all kinds of trouble. Then unless it's a two-part episode, in the next episode, he'll be in a different time period messing with the major events of that year. They announced the release date is supposed to be sometime during year 2 of the Disney streaming service, so that just means sometime between the end of next year and spring 2021, so it'll take a little bit longer for them to get the series out. They probably won't start shooting it for a while. Some of the Marvel Avengers shows will roll out next year, some of them won't drop till a little bit later, Loki being one of the ones that's later in the timeline, along with the Scarlet Vision series called WandaVision, which I think is going to drop after Loki unless they say something different. The Captain America Falcon Winter Soldier series is supposed to drop next year, so it'll be one of the first ones we get to see. But the number of episodes for all the different shows is going to be a little bit different. There's only going to be 6 episodes of the Falcon Winter Soldier show, but because Elizabeth Olsen got super chatty, we found out what's going on with the WandaVision show.
WandaVision. What a title. Where does that title come from?
There's quite a few other comic books that we're pulling from, and it's going to be Wanda and the Vision. And I think at the Disney Plus launch chat, they showed a photo of us in the 50s, and I think that's a good teaser. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited.
What's the theme song?
Oh, I don't know, but it would be some sort of like da 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 da.
Beat the hell out of someone?
Yeah. Isn't that sound fun to watch?
When do you start shooting, or have you shot it?
A fall. Yeah, Paul and I are really excited. They have a great group of writers. And
how many episodes will it be? Do you know yet?
I think it's going to be a total of 6 hours. I don't know what the episodes are.
We don't know how many episodes of Loki there's going to be, but I'm assuming it'll be just like the other shows, between 6 and 8 episodes. You asked, though, why is the episode count so low? Why aren't they doing 10 episodes per season? The answer is because they're spending as much money on these as they would on the movies, $100+ million. Typically, Marvel movies nowadays are around $150+ million. But that basically means that each of the series will be like a 6-hour movie. But the big thing to remember is that the Kevin Feige said that these Avengers spin-off shows will influence the MCU canon and move it forward. So you would treat them like you would treat any other movie, moving the story of the MCU forward in the timeline. Even though now we're actually getting some period movies like Black Widow or The Eternals, but anything set during the past really just helps recontextualize events so that you look at them differently. Like the time travel scenes during Avengers Endgame when they're in the middle of the original Avengers movie, where you get like extra little moments, like, oh wow, this is kind of like a deleted scene from that original Avengers movie, a moment that we never actually got to see, like them in the elevator going down, telling Hulk to take the stairs. A lot of you also had questions about the other Marvel TV shows during Phase 4, like what's going on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, right now, that stuff is a completely different group of people producing it. Kevin Feige himself and the Marvel movie people will be making all these Avengers spin-off shows. The Marvel TV people that make Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a completely different group of people. So I wouldn't expect too much of the other stuff to wind in with what's going on with these Avengers Phase 4 TV shows. But there's still a lot of questions about what's going on with the future going forward in the timeline with this alternate reality version of Loki, because presumably he's still alive. Otherwise, they would have had some scene at the end of the movie with Captain America stealing the Tesseract back from him and taking it back to 2012. The only way I think that this version of Loki winds up crossing over with our current version of Thor in a future movie is if they get into really heavy multiverse stuff, because alternate realities aren't quite the same thing as different dimensions of the multiverse, but you could think of it in kind of the same way. Hopping different realities is more like jumping dimensions the way that Rick and Morty do on that TV show, traveling between realities in the finite curve of the universe, because remember, there's infinite possibilities, so theoretically there's infinite different dimensions, but just for the purposes of storytelling in the MCU, they're trying to keep it as simple as possible when talking about that stuff.
Pack your shit. That's only gonna keep him down for a little bit, Morty. You f***ed with squirrels, Morty. We got a good 5 minutes before they're backing up on our ass, Morty. We have to pack up and move to a new reality, Morty. You know, I said we can only do that a couple of times. We're f***ed over here.
So just to be clear, the version of Loki that died at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War was the current version of Loki that we've been with this whole time. He's not coming back. He's still dead. He still made this sacrifice. He's still got a measure of redemption in trying to save Thor's life. But because Loki is such an amazing character, there's so many more stories to tell, that's why they created Branch Reality Loki with the Tesseract during Avengers Endgame. So there's still a Loki out there, just not the same version of Loki. They even had that funnier scene with Thanos when they were trying to work everything out. It wound up being a deleted scene where he's sitting there talking to Loki in a longer conversation about why he has to kill him.
No, I heard that you were meaning to get in touch with me, but then I heard you were dead. And I also heard that you were a king and various other things. But the fact is, Loki, you and I are not the sort people understand. The sort people fear. Now I got the information that I need, and now I have to break your neck. It's just the way it is. I'm just a messenger.
There'll be more deleted scenes and stuff like that when they release the Avengers Endgame Blu-ray, so no worries, I'll do deleted scene videos later this summer when that happens. They haven't announced the entire cast for the Loki series, but I'm assuming that most of the regular characters will come back in small ways, but for the most part, it's going to follow Loki around. So it's not going to be like Thor in every single episode, but Chris Hemsworth will participate a little bit. They'll also probably get Anthony Hopkins to come back as Odin for a little bit because it's a period piece, so some of the episodes will be set during the past and he'll still be alive. Same thing with Rene Russo's Frigga character, because he was so much closer to her growing up than he ever was with Odin, so it'd actually be more important that you put her on the series. They even had that extra material during Avengers Endgame that sort of canonizes her as being even smarter than you thought that she was before, even more clever. Like she's talking to the Lebowski version of Thor, "I was raised by witches, boy. I know you're not my Thor." She's also the one that taught Loki all of his magic, so just expect her to pop up somewhere during the series too. The only show that's going to be available at launch at the end of this year in November is going to be the Star Wars Mandalorian TV series. Of course, I'll be doing episode videos for all these shows when they come, but it's just that the Star Wars Mandalorian TV series will be the first one to drop. They'll be doing a D23 panel where they reveal more about what's going on with all this, so we'll probably get a couple more trailers, so I'll talk about it again then later this summer. If you have big questions about anything, or are there any Marvel videos that you want me to do, let me know in the comments. I'll name a giveaway winner when I post new Marvel. While you wait for everything, click here for that funny Spider-Man Far From Home Deadpool scene, and you can click here for that brand new Rick and Morty Season 4 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.